We do have a 10-minute supplementary talk from Murli Gopal, who doesn't need much introduction, but I'm going to give him one because he's my friend. Murli has his PhD in physics from Ohio University. He was a postdoc at Columbia, and not Columbia, the country, Columbia University. And he also studied Sanskrit at Rutgers. He is currently working on another degree, master's in medical physics at the University of Florida.
Oh, thank you, bro. Let me share this. Right. Thank you, everybody. How long do I have?
About 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. All right. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'll be talking today about space-time and the Gunas. So we have in the Puranas that time flows at different rates. We have things that, up where Brahmaloka is, it's eons, where for us, a few minutes there is eons for us. The demigods is about 1 day and night, is one year for us. And we have stories from the Mahabharata, which tell us that time moves slower in the lower worlds. So then we can question, can we explain it with general relativity? And in general relativity, time flows slower if, one, you're near a very massive object, two, if the universe has a special geometry, or three, if you're traveling near the speed of light. So let's go through those things. Are the demigod planets, are they receding away from us very fast, as Bhupal Prabhu asked a couple of minutes ago? Well, this would imply that the Earth is at the center of the universe. Okay, let's say that it is. A lot of scientists would not go for this, but let's just for the sake of argument say that it is. But then the galaxies that are furthest away from us, they would be traveling faster than the speed of light. And this breaks down the theory that we are trying to use. So therefore, time dilation in the Puranas is not likely due to the motion of the planets. So let's look at the second option. In general relativity, if you're using a very massive object, then time flows slower. Well, we have two possibilities. One is that the demigod planet with a gravity like Earth. So imagine that you have like just a really, really, really big star or planet. Well, according to general relativity, the one for something like the Indraloka, it would have to have a radius of about 4 × 10⁻15 meters. And the biggest star that we know of has a radius of 1 × 10⁻12. That means that it would have to be 100 times bigger than the biggest star that we know in the universe. However, in the 5th canto, it mentions that Indraloka can be seen in the Shishumara mountain, in the Shishumara constellation. So therefore, this would be a contradiction. Then, okay, so what about another possibility? And is that the most massive small object that we can think of would be a black hole. Well, all the planets of the demigods would have to be like very, very close to a black hole. So every single demigod would have to be living near a black hole. And that's also unlikely. So time dilation in the Puranas is not likely due to mass. The third question is, is it due to a special geometry of the universe? In a previous talk, I talked about the anti-de Sitter space. And this anti-de Sitter space has very special properties. It's called the confining box. So that's an interesting idea. And basically, it takes an infinite distance to go to the edges of that universe. but a finite time for light to travel to it. So that's kind of interesting. But the problem is that light there travels at superluminal speeds. So this makes the anti-de Sitter space an unphysical geometry. And also, time dilation is opposite to what we want. So time goes slower in the middle and faster on the edges. So this is not a hard no, but at least what this is that we would have to search for another type of geometry. This anti-de Sitter and the de Sitter, which is the one that we're currently using, they would not fit with what we would want. Okay, so here's another possibility then. Let's not look at space-time geometry and all that, but let's look at the gunas. So here's an answer, and it's that Puranic heights are related to the amount of sattva guna. Brahmaloka is the most sattvic, and the lower planetary systems are the most tamasic. And right where we are in the Bhuloka, that's where Rajas. And just interesting here is that Lord Shiva, who is the devata in charge of the Tamaguna, meditates on Anantashesha, who is at the bottom of the universe. So if we look at the Jyotish, the astrology, Vedic astrology, Jyotish connects the planets with the elements. So Saturn is connected with let me see, was it that? Sorry. With Earth, water, fire, and ether, with Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The Bhagavatam has a certain it has a certain order, but it's not exactly the one that we want. Jupiter and Saturn are switched, and Venus and Mercury are switched. If we look at the Vishnu Purana, though, we see that Venus and Mercury have the same one of the Jyotish Shastras. So it may be that in different Puranas, we may find also, I don't know, we may find that Saturn and Jupiter are switched as well. So what we can conclude from here is that, yeah, there could be the possibility that along the vertical direction we have a correlation with the tamaguna or sattva-guna, however you want to see it. Now, how does time flow here? In classical Sankhya, sees time as coming from the gunas. Basically, however the gunas move, that's how you are able to tell what time it is. But Bhagavatam looks at it the other way, and is that time is Krishna's energy, and it's time that puts the gunas into motion. So let's go with that. And in this, we can say, we can speculate that the amount of rajas accelerates how time flows. So up there in Brahmaloka is the most sattvic, it's slow time. Down in the lower worlds, it's most tamasic, slow time. But here, the rajasic, in the place where it's most rajasic, that's where the time is fastest. So how do we connect this with our reality? Well, we can see that people that operate constantly in rajas, they seem to age much faster than other people. Very famous example, right? And we can also see that in the twin paradox, the Einstein's twin paradox. It is talked about how, if you have a pair of twins and one of them goes in a rocket and comes back, when he comes back, this rocket goes at near the speed of light. When he comes back, he'll be much older. He'll be much younger than the twin that he left here. Well, how do we look at this from the guna point of view? Well, in special relativity, we know that as you increase the speed, as you're able to increase the speed here, then the inertial mass also increases. Higher speed, than more inertial mass. And also, you have time dilation. Now, inertia is related to tamaguna, right? So we could possibly see that a higher speed could bring a higher tamas, and possibly this could bring a time dilation. So in conclusion, one is that time in the different planetary systems flows at different rates. In relativity, time flows because of different things, because of being close to a massive object, because of the geometry of space-time, or traveling near the speed of light. Two of these are unlikely, and one we would still have to look if there is any possible geometry that we could model the universe with that. But that is a hard task. The other possibility is that the height in the Puranas, this distance, may be related to the amount of sattva or tamas, more sattva or more tamas, depending on where you want to go. And this is consistent with the Puranas and Jyotish. And time may be related to the amount of rajas. I'm going to leave you with this thing about relativistic mass. As you approached the speed of light, you would become infinitely dense. Then Dogbird says, then you would be forced to take a job as a high school gym teacher. This book changes subject at this point. Sounds like a cover-up. Thank you.